We have an update on Connor McDavid's contract negotiations, as after this season he only has 1 year left, but Pierre LeBrun and the rest of the TSN insiders sort of let us know how far exactly we are when it comes to a new extension for Connor McDavid. All that and more today on Oilers Digest. We've also set up tonight's matchup against the Tampa Bay Lightning at Rogers Place. But first, if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do so. If you're part of the 18% that have subscribed, we'd like to thank each and every one of you. But if you're part of the 82% that haven't yet, what are you waiting for, folks? Any and all Oiler news you can find here right on Oilers Digest, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. Now, yes, the main topic today, other than tonight's game, of course, is when it comes to Connor McDavid and his contract negotiations. Now, of course, Pierre LeBrun is at the NHL Board of Governors meeting, and he had this to say regarding a conversation with Jeff Jackson when it comes to Connor McDavid's contract negotiations. He said, we all know that he has 1 year left on his deal after the season, and the reality is, Jeff Jackson said, they have not started any type of contract negotiation or even a conversation on that front. Now, of course, he can't sign until July 1st anyway, but it's very similar to the pattern we saw last year with Leon Draisaitl, which Leon Draisaitl wanted to focus on hockey, wanted to focus on the season before getting into it after the year. That's the sense now we get with Connor McDavid. There's no hurry to this. There's a season to play out. There's a focus on getting back with the Oilers to a Stanley Cup final, and then everyone involved is comfortable with having that conversation. Now, this, I wasn't surprised about this at all. Connor McDavid, he is hockey first, a team first kind of guy before, sitting down at the negotiation table when it comes to a contract extension. I know when he pulls up to that table, hand the guy a blank check. He can command anything he wants within a certain degree. Of course, players have to make a certain amount of the salary cap, or can only make up to a certain amount of the salary cap. But Connor McDavid, he's one of those guys that, again, give him a blank check, and he is fully deserving of it. But Pierre LeBrun also added on, one thing that Jeff Jackson reiterated is July 1st is not a deadline. Whether an extension can get done on July 1st or later in the summer, so be it. Everyone should calm down in Oiler Nation and realize it will get done when it gets done. Obviously, that's the Oilers fans' hope. And now, of course, many people are saying the Draisaitl and McDavid, extensions aren't connected. But, after Leon Draisaitl on the 8-year, I have no reason to believe Connor McDavid won't follow suit. But, of course, stuff has come back to bite me from the past before. Of course, in the summer, I did say that the Oilers would lock up Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg, and of course, I ended up being completely wrong about that. So if I'm wrong about this, again, feel free to let me know later on in the future. But Best in the Nation, yes, also coming from TSN, they released their up-to-date power rankings in the NHL, and the Edmonton Oilers are apparently, to TSN, the best Canadian team. As you can see there, they are 7th in the power rankings, but as you can see there, they are the only Canadian team in those rankings, with the Winnipeg Jets 4 spots down at 11th. But for, narrative purposes, I cut them off, leaving it only as the top 10, but they are surrounded by some fantastic teams. The Washington Capitals, the Tampa Bay Lightning, who they will see tonight with a record of 14-9-2, with an average goal differential of .92, so almost, an average goal differential, almost a goal more per game compared to their expected goal differential, so they're outscoring their mistakes. As the goaltending not as strong as it's been in Tampa Bay over the past few years, especially with a guy like Andrei Vasilevsky. Minnesota Wild, who the Oilers will see later on this week on Thursday, I do believe, a team that's always had Edmonton's number. The Los Angeles Kings, who have yet to see the Edmonton Oilers at this point of the season. I know, crazy, and they're in the division as well. And then the Dallas Stars, who the Oilers did meet back in October and lost. Florida Panthers, who the Edmonton Oilers will see next Monday. And then New Jersey, Carolina, and Vegas, who Vegas is currently 2-0 over the Oilers this season. So, again, still lots of time for the Oilers to move up in these rankings, and I mean, there's certainly lots of time for them to go down, but I don't see that happening at all this season with the way they've been playing so far. The Oilers are averaging almost 2 goals more against per game, or 2 goals against per game, I should say, over their last 5. Edmonton's goals saved above expected ranks 13th during that 5-game stretch, a big improvement from where it ranked prior, 3rd worst in the NHL. You can see here from Money Puck here, the quadrant of goals expected and expected goals against and expected goals for, and they are in the good quadrant. I mean, it's certainly better than being in the bad or boring quadrant, although, it'd be, fun to see them in the fun quadrant as Vegas, Pittsburgh, and the New York Rangers are, but that would, lead to a lot more stress in my life when it comes to the Edmonton Oilers. Not like I needed any more, right? But to see them in, the good quadrant with, again, other good teams, that is a good sight to see here, Oiler fans. The Oilers are not in any danger whatsoever, and the special teams aren't in any danger at all either. Edmonton's penalty kill since November 12th is the best in the NHL at 92.3%. Of course, a small sample size. I mean, we were already a month into the season at that point, but you know what? That's good news. While their power play has heated up in December 3 for 6 after warming from a cool start to the season by going 7 for 32 or 21.3% with the man advantage during the month of November. And just looking here at the goaltending, Stuart Skinner's last 4 games for the Edmonton Oilers, he's in amongst some of the league's best when it comes to Ilya Sorokin, Philip Gustafsson, Linus Ullmark, and Jordan Binnington. Now, aside from Ilya Sorokin, for obvious purposes, the other 3 goaltenders named to their respective 4 nations face-off rosters for, both Swedish goalies and Jordan Binnington for Team Canada, who Stuart Skinner outdueled on Saturday night. So again, some pretty good company to be amongst here for Stuart Skinner. Just looking at the lineup tonight against the Tampa Bay Lightning, it hasn't been anything official so far, but the Oilers seem to be rolling with something very similar to what they've had in the past couple games. I mean, if it's not broken, why fix it? With Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Connor McDavid, Zach Hyman, Vasily Podkolzin, Leon Draisaitl, and Kasperi Kapanen, Matthias Janmark, Adam Henrique, and Jeff Skinner, and Corey Perry, Derek Ryan, and Connor Brown, and on the back end there you have Mattias Ekholm and Evan Bouchard, and then what seems to be a platoon here with Nurse, Stetcher, and Kulak. I'll get into that in just a second, and Ty Emberson also filling out that right spot on the third pairing. And Stuart Skinner is projected to get the start again tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. Again, he's been hot. Why not ride the hot hand? And Mattias Ekholm, he's been commenting on the Oilers, past couple games when it comes to playing a complete game. And he said, I think in the last 5 or 6 games, we started to find the way we want to play, maybe the first 5 minutes and sort of the third period. We didn't like last game, of course, against the St. Louis Blues, when the Oilers went out to a 3-0 lead after the second period, and they let the Blues get into it, making it 3-2 before Troy Stetcher had the insurance goal, a little under 10 minutes to go in the third period, making it 4-2 Oilers. But other than that, I thought it was a pretty decent hockey game for us. We're trying to build off of that. We don't look too far ahead of what's coming other than Tampa tomorrow. And we'll worry about the rest when it comes. But for now, we feel pretty good in here as a team. And, from Mattias Ekholm, a lot of quotes I've shared of him on the show here. Not exactly the most optimistic, but I mean, Mattias Ekholm calls it like he sees it. That's exactly what you need from sort of a locker room leader like Mattias Ekholm. Of course, he's been all over the place, not just in Edmonton, but also in Nashville. And so, again, pretty inspiring words from one of the star defensemen on the Edmonton Oilers. Of course, he's been a fan favorite ever since he got here in the Tyson Barrie trade in 2023. But just looking when it comes to Darnell Nurse, his deployment this season, the highs and the lows when it comes to his first week here of the season. Of course, he came after an injury in the preseason, played limited minutes in the preseason. You can see there that first week he was kind of all over the place. Of course, he was with Ty Emberson to start, and then the coaching staff realized that didn't quite work as well as they wanted it to, and then he was with Travis Dermott. But as you can see there, the expected goal share, other than the small sample size here with Evan Bouchard and somewhat decent numbers with Mattias Ekholm, but Ekholm boosts everybody up. Not exactly the most inspiring. Of course, 33% expected goal share with Travis Dermott and 25% expected goal share with Ty Emberson. But just looking this past week here, ever since there was that platoon with Troy Stetcher, Brett Kulak, and Darnell Nurse, where they seem to rotate Nurse's partners, he's been phenomenal. 33 minutes of Troy Stetcher with a 63% expected goal share, and in Brett Kulak, he's just revitalized Darnell Nurse to ways I can't even begin to describe. 60% expected goal share, and then Evan Bouchard and Mattias Ekholm. Again, small sample size with those two. But this is the week the coaching staff unlocked a usual platoon involving the second and third pairings. Darnell Nurse plays with Troy Stetcher as his partner until there's a specific pressure point, like a defensive zone start, and an elite line from the opposition presented. And that's when Brett Kulak will be paired up with Darnell Nurse. It's a very interesting one, but it's one that seems to work nonetheless with the Edmonton Oilers. Of course, they'd have to still look for a defenseman on that right side to go against Darnell Nurse, as with Troy Stetcher and Ty Emberson. We'll get into those numbers in just a minute, but you need something a little more substantial than what the Oilers are running right now, even though it's working. I know it seems crazy to me, but it's what the Oilers have to do. Of course, the Nurse minutes at 5-on-5 are quality now. He's at full health, and the Oilers coaching staff has found 2 quality partners for him. Although Puck IQ tells us Nurse and Stetcher have played 64 minutes 5-on-5 together with a 47% dangerous Fenwick, smart Corsi similar to expected goals and shot shares, and a 4-to-1 goal advantage. But just looking at Ty Emberson and Troy Stecher, you can see their 21 games played together, but only a little over 41 minutes, or a little under 42 minutes, I should say, time on ice together. So in those 21 games, that's, a little under 2 minutes together, and so that's something the Oilers should really look out for in the future. They're trying to, shelter a Emberson and Stecher pairing by overloading, that top four of Mattias Ekholm, Evan Bouchard, and Nurse and Kulak. Although, Stecher and Emberson, they've been, getting better as time goes on, but the Oilers do need to fill out that gap on the right side next to Darnell Nurse. That way, a guy like Brett Kulak could be next to Ty Emberson for the rest of the season, or the short time after the trade deadline, and just have Stecher as insurance, because I don't think rolling Troy Stecher and Ty Emberson to a full-time lineup heading into the playoffs is something the Oilers, has had on their shopping list for a long time. But Darnell Nurse, since his game has been revitalized next to Brett Kulak, I think, you could put anybody next to him, and, they'd be a lot better than what they were before. That's just the kind of guy Brett Kulak is, elevating the guys next to him. But thunderstruck, yes, the Edmonton Oilers are up against the Tampa Bay Lightning tonight when it comes to, Oiler changes. Not just, Oiler changes, but Oiler news when it comes to, the game tonight before the Tampa Bay Lightning. Kris Knoblauch had this to say about Victor Arvidsson. He said he's been skating, feeling better, and he's not going to play immediately, and we're hoping that he's back practicing with the team this week. But when it comes to the Tampa Bay Lightning, of course, they've been, a very strong team ever since the 2019-2020 season, or even, the year before that, when they did set an NHL record, only to be beaten by the Boston Bruins, and only for the Tampa Bay Lightning to be swept by the Columbus Blue Jackets in the first round. But yes, they are up against the Edmonton Oilers tonight at 8 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Mountain on Sportsnet. And the Oilers had a pretty good record against the Eastern Conference up to this point in the season, going 7-3-2, with the only losses, coming to a team like New Jersey, Montreal, and, of course, the Columbus Blue Jackets game, which was very weird with McDavid's injury. But, nonetheless, still a pretty decent record against the Eastern Conference. But it'll be a tough one tonight against the Tampa Bay Lightning. You can see there the Tampa Bay Lightning, plus 22 goal differential in the Atlantic Division so far this year. So they are outscoring their mistakes, something that, is very scary when it comes to a team like the Tampa Bay Lightning. You can see there are 5 players with more than 10 goals, although Anthony Cirelli is day-to-day. We're not too sure if we will see him tonight against the Edmonton Oilers, but nonetheless, that still leaves 4 players with more than 10 goals this season, with Jake Guentzel with 12, Brandon Hagel with 12, who was named to Team Canada, Nikita Kucherov with 13, and Braden Point with 18. You can see there Victor Hedman also 21 assists on the year. Some people thought he was washed, but I didn't. That's, when it comes to Tampa Bay, they've always played the Edmonton Oilers tough, and the Edmonton Oilers, on the opposite side, have also played Tampa Bay tough over the past few years. So 2 other teams, they're the juggernaut, but 2 Edmonton Oilers are just another Eastern Conference team. And they will be going up against Andrei Vasilevsky tonight with a goals against average of 2.40 and a save percentage of .909. Not quite his personal best over the past couple years, of course. The Tampa Bay Lightning not as strong as they were in their mini dynasty days, but still not a team to overlook nonetheless. You can see there in that TSN Power Rankings. Of course, they were second place only with only Washington ahead of them. So should be a fantastic one tonight. Should be fun for the Oilers to sort of, carry where they left off against the St. Louis Blues. And then again, be strong not just on the offensive side of things, but the special teams, defense, and goaltending with Stuart Skinner. Should be a very interesting one tonight. Let me know down in the comments what you think about the whole McDavid situation. I mean, are you worried? I'm not worried. I think I've said this in every video when it comes to McDavid contract negotiation. I'm not worried at all. I also wasn't really worried about the Leon Draisaitl fiasco, so hopefully it is part 2 of that. And let me know what you think about the game tonight. That's it for today's video. Again, make sure to subscribe, and again, let me know what you think down in the comments about the video overall. Have yourselves a fantastic day, and enjoy the game tonight, folks. Let's go Oilers.